Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Grant and this is the third video in a series of introductions I'm making for Victoria 2. Today we are going to talk about war and combat in Victoria 2. I haven't explained that topic very much in the earlier videos because it demands its own video, I think. Now let us start with the basic of war. In Paradox games, you can't just declare it for no reason. You need to justify a war pretty much always. I talked about that. After you've justified it, you have a war goal. If you go to show wars and have the right country selected, you can see your casus belli. In this case I already justified this before the video. We have an acquire state casus belli, and we can now declare war for this war goal. And if we do so, we would see how much war score it would cost us to demand this war goal, how much prestige we would get for adding it, how much infamy we would get for adding it, and militancy. In this case we would get nothing because it's already justified. How much we would get if we achieve it, and how much we would get if we fail. As you can see, failing to achieve a war goal is not good. It costs you prestige, it rises your militancy, it's just not fun. Now, once you have declared war, you're going to need to fight with your army. In this case, these guys here. As you can see, I've already assembled one. This is just a build-up I personally prefer, and you'll see it suggested a few times within the fandom. I just like it. 4 infantry units, 1 cav, count cavalry, and 5 artillery until I get engineers. Now, how would you build these units? You would do it here. That's kinda unfortunate because I already prepared everything for the war. We can't build anything else now. But, well, let's look at it anyway. If you look at a unit, you can see it has a few values. We have attack, and we have defense. Now this is important. Those two values do the same thing, just in different situations. They both add to the combat roll. If you've never played the Paradox games before, combat often has a random element in it, which is a dice roll. So it can go from 0 to 9, and basically it's a very important part of combat. It's pretty much more important than anything else. The dice roll, if you get a 9 and your opponent gets a 0, you're doing a lot more damage than he does. But anyway, the attack and the defense for a unit, they're both applied to that roll. If you're either on the offense, then it's the attack value, or if you're on the defense, then it's the defense value. It's still, both times, damage. It increases the damage that is done to the enemy. And this is also important, in Victoria 2, there is no initiative. Both armies hit each other at the same time. You don't get to deal damage and then have enemy with reduced strength hit you back. You're both damaging each other at the same time. Now, discipline plays into damage and damage reduction. And maneuver, basically it's a unit, once it is in the field, can only attack a unit that is in front of it. Or, if it has a maneuver of 1, unit that is moved once to the side. So we'll see it when combat has started. I will show you the battle map. It sounds more impressive than it is, but you will see that. Maximum speed and supplies consumption are pretty basic stuff. But those are the standard values for troops. Now, some troops have extra stats. Like for example, here for artillery, you have the same stuff like the infantry, but you also have support. Support is a value that means this unit can do damage, or will do 200 times its damage from the back row. If it is not actually facing the enemy face to face, but behind your infantry, it will do twice its damage. Because if you look at its attack value, that's really bad. So artillery in the front line will die without doing anything. But if you have it in the back line, it will shoot the enemy for a lot of damage. That's great, we want that. So if your unit has a support value, it's better off in the back line. And it will be in the back line as long as you have units in the front. So this is something you will need to understand for building your own units. You need to have enough units in the front. If you have more units that could fill the back row than you have in the front, those units will go to the front and then they will die. So keep that relatively equal. Yes, here we have another value. Again, engineers, they can support from the back line, but only for half the damage. But they also have a siege bonus, which means they will help you siege a province far faster. Otherwise, it can take a while to occupy a province. So once you can build an engineer, having one of them in the army is good. You only need one. There's no reason to get more of them. The guards, as you can see, they have an attack value of 8 and a defense of 3 compared to the infantry's 5-5. So they're better on the attack, but worse on the defense. And we come another cavalry unit and another new value. Reconnaissance. Well, I'll just call it recon because I can't pronounce that. Recon is another value that has two uses. First off, it will help you occupy faster. And secondly, it excuse me, it will reduce the dig-in bonus. Right now, we don't have a dig-in. You need an engineer. Once you have an engineer in your army, your army will get a dig-in bonus if it stays in a province for a day at least. This bonus will get bigger and bigger. I think we have it on the technology. You can even yeah, there is it. The dig-in cap. As you can see, at every point the dig-in cap gets increased by 1, and by 1 again. And this bonus is added to their dice roll. It's taken away from the enemy's dice roll. It's a penalty to the enemy. And this dice bonus can, for example, get up to +6. Now, if we go back to, that's better. We attack an enemy, and he has a dig-in bonus of +6. This would murder us. It's terrible, like. But because we have one unit with recon in our army, that dig-in bonus is then divided by our recon. So instead of the full +6 penalty to our roll, we only get +3. And this, in our case, it would be -3, of course, but you get it. The 6 dig-in the bonus is divided by our recon to a 3. And not only that, after the first round, if we win a turn is about 5 days. This is also the time where the armies will roll against each other. Every 5 days a new dice is rolled. If you win a battle after the first turn, the dig-in bonus is reduced by 1 until it's gone. So having a recon in your army against an enemy that is dug in is great. Otherwise, you're probably going to lose. But in the first place, do refrain from being the attacker if you can. Like, occasionally you must, but you're better off just let them come to you. Being on the defensive is far stronger in this game. It is in most Paradox games, but especially in this one, being on the defensive has so many bonuses to you. You terrain is something that also changes the dice roll negatively for the attacker. The forts will make you take less damage. Your defense value is, well, it's often the same. But, well, let's see. What else do we have? We have tanks and planes. As you can see, they have far superior attack value, even defense value, and a siege value of their own. So tanks are great. Planes, again, they have a huge defense value, they have a support value, and they have recon. So as you get these and you get the capability to actually build an army out of them because they cost a lot, you're probably going to change to building tanks and planes and filling your army with that if you can. In general, it's probably going to be too expensive to get a full army only out of those two, but, well, you have to judge that, and you'll have to pay for it, so you will see. Now, each army also gets a general. As you can see, a general, you can recruit a general or an admiral as long as you have leadership. You get leadership from your officers. And that's a type of pop, so something you should let them grow, yes. For our generals, you see they have traits. Now, as I told you, the dice roll is probably the most important thing in combat. And attack and defense is added to the dice roll. So we have here a general that gives us +3 to attack. That's great. Like, that's absolutely perfect. That's really, really good. Like, the maximum you can get from a general is +5. So that is really good, and you should always use a general with plus attack or plus defense for the correct armies, of course, with which you are going to attack or defend. The morale is basically the way you regain organization. I guess I should have talked about that too. The two defensive values, let's call it that you have, basically your strength and your organization. You can see your strength is then the number of soldiers you have. The organization is how if they can still fight as a unit, let's call it that. So in this case, every battle does damage to both of these. In general, you will run out of organization before you will run out of strength. There are formulas for that, but they are pretty hard to get into. So let's just say it like this. You have a base damage. That base damage is often multiplied or added to by the attack values from your general or from your dice roll. And all of that is reduced by your enemy's tactics. And I don't think we've talked about that yet, and I should be, yeah, there we have this. Tactics, military tactics. This military tactics reduces damage, strength damage taken. So you lose less soldiers if you have the more military tactics you have. The same value, organization damage gets bigger the less organization you have. So if you look at our unit here, and it has it's the max of 42.8 organization. If we only have 20 organization, we will take more organization damage from every hit than if we were at 40 or 42.8. That's just the way the formula works. The more organization, the less organization damage you take. The less organization, the more organization damage you take. Now, what else is there to say before we actually fight? Because at this point you've just heard me rambling and you haven't seen us gambling. Yes, supply consumption, which is reduced during peacetime. Organization regain rates. Mm, organization that we have. Experience, yes. Experience is also something that reduces damage taken. It works similar to to tactics, in the sense that if you have 100% experience, you cut damage in half. And if you have 100% tactics advantage, you also cut damage in half. So if you have both of them at full, at max level, you get a quarter of the damage that you would without them. Units gain experience. They will also get some tech. This is a starting. Yeah, our units, if we build them, they start with this 5. But there's a technology that will increase that, and they will gain experience. There are generals which gain more experience than others. And yes, experience, it's great. It reduces your damage again. And remember, all damage that you take on your army means that your soldier population is dying. These are actual people that you lose. We'll see that later in the game when I'm losing people. We'll see that the brigades that we can field will go down a lot. Recruit time, that's pretty basic. Don't need to explain that. And combat width. This is the maximum amount of soldiers we can have in the front row. I mean, in the second too, but basically this means there's a limit to how many soldiers can fight in a battle in one line. Now, 30 units is a lot. This will get smaller as you research tech. It will get down to 10 units, but it's a maximum limit, and you're not going to encounter that very often. Like, let's say we really reach the 10 units in our front line. I have here 30 units. I could have 40 here, thanks to my supply, so 30 is a nice number. On my front line there will be these 4, and the cavalry. The 5 artillery will be in the back line. So only these 5 will be in the front line. 5 units. That's half of the smallest battle front width that will have an entire game. And it won't matter, because keep in mind, they only have a maneuver of 1. So they can only attack an enemy 1 to the side of a unit right in front of them. So if the enemy has more soldiers in the front line than you, a lot more, most of them won't be able to attack your small unit anyway. They'll just be sitting there, taking damage to the organization. That's basically it. It's a trick. You should not use too many soldiers. It's better to cycle your units through battle. I'll show you that the moment we start battle. Show you what I mean with that. But I think that's basically it for the introduction. You've heard about the numbers and what they mean. Well, yes, I told you that tactics reduce damage taken. If you have a fort, yes, each level will grant you bonus tactics, which will add to your tactics and will decrease damage you take. And here with terrain, as you can see, terrain, it gives you a defense bonus, it reduces combat width, and that's just woods. If we were to fight in the mountains, if I could find some, there we go. Yeah, that's harsh. You do not attack someone in the mountains if you can. That's murder. You're just going to melt your manpower away. But that's technically it for the introduction. For the introduction to the introduction, I guess. Let's actually declare war and see what I mean. We'll go for Silesia. We'll call our allies. Thanks to the beta patch, we can now see who will accept and who will not. The only ones who will not accept are Sardinia, Piedmont, and two Sicilies. So we declare war on Prussia and all its little friends. Now I have 2 units here which are pretty much as I want them, with the 5 front units and the artillery in the back. The others are mostly infantry because I simply cannot build enough artillery yet. So I'm sending this unit against this Prussian unit. He has 24,000 infantry, 6,000 cav. Read that? No. Yes. Okay. And 6,000 artillery, I think. Yeah. This is 15,000 cavalry. Oh, this is going to be interesting. We march on. I'll put that unit right there so I can switch them through. Now let's see at which speed we are. Let's go to the lowest. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone has 100. We'll be there on the 26th. This got a bit too slow, maybe. There we go. We have now initiated combat. If we click on this, we can see the combat. We can see our units, the enemy's units, our general, and they have a good general. He's... I don't know. I value defense a bit more than attack, so I guess it's fine. Anyway, let's look at this. This is the dice roll I've told you about. They've rolled a 6, we rolled a 5. That's actually pretty decent. With attack value of 1, which is good. He doesn't have a defense value, so he doesn't add to that roll. We are crossing a river. Yes, this tiny thing there. And they have a dig-in bonus. So it's a different dig-in bonus from 1. We have cav, so it would be divided by, well, I don't know what exactly. What cavalry are we using? Oh wait, the Caricios don't have recon. Okay, anyway. Let's look at this. We have an infantry unit here. You can see its current size, its strength, and its organization. And it's attacking the 10th Linien Infanterie Brigade. This would be that unit. So, attacking directly the unit in front of it. Our cavalry is attacking the 11th, is that also? Yes, it's that one. This guy's the 9th, it's there. These guys are attacking the 2.9, should be that one, yeah. So they can attack not the unit in front of him, because there's none, but one to the side. And there we have it, an infantry brigade in the back line. It can do nothing. It can do absolutely nothing. That one artillery brigade and an engineer brigade, they can actually do something because they have a support value. So they can attack someone here. Our artillery can do that too, and they will. And this is the fact. So let's look at this. Our organization, we are at 92%. They're at 43 because we caught them with their pants down. That's just the way it works. This battle should be similar. Here's a defense value. That hurts. Yeah, that's a pretty crappy general. And they have they rolled a 5 and we rolled a 2, so they're going to we are going to lose a lot more organization than they will. And don't forget, this is we rolled the dice, and this is 5 days of battle. In 5 days they will roll again, and we can't even. A voluntary retreat will only be possible in 11 days. So, yeah, that cav can attack. The cav can attack too. It's pretty much the same everywhere. Everyone can attack, but you can see what I mean when I said using the maximum front. That it's not really useful because you can only attack so many people at the same time. If my front is small, if he had a few more units for the front line, it would be completely useless. If they went the back line, it would be useless too. So the maximum front, yeah, yes, you can keep in mind, but it's simply not important. It's too big to matter. Just for the late game, you will get down to 10 units in the front. That's it. I often don't even reach that, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, let us run the combat for a bit. 26th, 26th. So, let's see. Well, they're losing pretty hard. Now, what can we do? These guys are losing pretty badly. So what we'll do now is send this unit in. General, I think it's fine. And I could replace it there too. But is the general any good? Well, yes, he's great. But we still can't. Well, 3 days, that should be fine. Move in. If you want to select a unit in battle, just cross circle over it. Or your unit if possible. So so now we have both units in battle. And the organization rate of your battle, if you enter, is all of your armies combined. So if we take our damaged unit, well, we can't yet because we still need to wait a day or two. Can we get? How many days is it left? 1 day. It's the set. We won. That's great. I'm actually going to do some little trickery here. So now we've switched in. If you can see, our organization has increased because unit with little organization has been removed from combat. Now we won here. The battle is over. And just look at that. We had 10 brigades down. That's just loss. Just people we lost. This unit, we brought its organization down. It has still a strength. So it's going to run away and recover. We can't really stop that. But this unit here, if we move correctly, and we will, because we know the battle is going to end soon, hopefully. They have 24. A unit cannot flee if all friendly or hostile provinces are occupied, which it could move to. So it could move here, 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 or here, and they're all occupied by my units. So once the battle is done and the unit tries to flee, it will die. It will just disappear. Once that is done. Jesus Christ, that's, for example, is horrible. I rolled a 0 and they rolled a 8. 9 is the maximum, so they're doing a ton of damage, and I'm doing like incredibly little. And we won the battle. We get a little war score, but no, did I? Okay. I'm guessing they got. That's just shit, but we can't really change it. We need to play around here a bit. It's really annoying. Yes, we'll take all of that. Those guys don't need to go that far. You go back there. Whoa. Why is that? Why did that unit just die so horribly? Interesting. We are losing very hard now. I don't quite get why. So we're gonna do something I don't like doing. We're gonna punch all our units together. We're still losing. Well, but that's a chance to see. Look at this. We have yes, we have artillery in the front. You can see this is painful. This means they are doing very little there. They are getting slaughtered. This is Switzerland, blah blah blah. Let's go. Second. But still, this is terrible. You don't want your artillery in the front. They are getting murdered. They will lose very, very badly. We can try to run away. -8 score. That's horrible. But that's how it goes. Do not let your artillery get to blah blah blah. Get to the back line. It's going to die horribly. To the front line. Apologies. So again, we want 4 of these, 5 of these, and yeah. That's as much as we could save from this. This is horrible. But that's what happens if you don't pay the proper amount of attention. Still, I don't think we would lose this war because I dragged a whole bunch of people in. And that's something you should keep in mind. It's nice and good if you can beat the enemy alone. But if you can't, have friends. Friends, and my friend is friends. But for example, if I target Prussia, and I just ally France, and my few German and Italian feelings, it's a bit iffy. But in this case, I also got Denmark, also got Sweden. I could try getting Sicily. Yes, they're allied with me again. Those guys won't answer. And once we can call them in again, and they will accept now. Because now we already have all our other friends in the war. When you first asked them, nobody but us was in the war. And Jesus Christ, yes, Prussia. Well, Prussia's mobilizing everything they have, so France isn't mobilized yet, I'm not mobilized yet. Let them do that. I'll still have some fresh soldiers there, I guess. And there's Sweden. That's nice. Yeah, let them die. Okay, now we need to get north quickly. I don't think we'll get there in time, but we'll hopefully get there. Yeah, we're not getting there in time. This was great. We reached them right when a unit with little organization joined the battle. So now we're gonna do a little switch over again. Well, that was too fast, I guess. It's a chance we have. Again, you can use that when they retreat to another unit. They will reduce their overall organization. That's something you can use. You can carry them before you... I'm kind of losing a lot. As you wish to destroy them. This time it worked pretty nicely, I think. But I can go there, so it's not really useful. As you can see, this you can cycle the unit through, and it's pretty effective. Because if I move all my units, you saw that in this battle here, where I moved all of them into one battle. It doesn't matter. All of them will take damage to the organization, all of them will run away. So, cycle your units through, keep the organization up. If you can, surround the enemy, let them die, but you often won't be able to do that. In this case, we try to crush them when we can, and we did, which is great. We're not going to... Well, we crushed them too. So we just... This army that was killing us here, we regrouped, put ourselves back together and destroyed them, with the help of Sweden, of course. So this is something you should keep in mind. You can always regroup, save your army, rebuild, let it gain their organization back, and then go back in again. You can do that. They can't stop you. And those guys should probably unify. And then you can take down the enemy if you're reasonably matched with him. You can see France still hasn't. We still haven't mobilized against them. Like, that's something we could do, but we're already, the Rhineland is pretty much occupied. They're gonna push through there. Once we have the war goal, we will get even more. Let's go into this. Yeah, that's already a lot. Now, I personally like this, that France wants to take the Rhineland, because it means Prussia will be even weaker. This is something kind of important in the game. If you're facing Prussia for some reason, they get a lot of events and a lot of decisions to make themselves stronger, especially military. And beating them at the beginning of the game as Austria is doable and relatively easy, relatively I say, because you're still in a favorable position against them. But once they get those decisions, once they have, for example, swallowed all those minors and become the North German Federation, they will crush you. They will have many more soldiers than you. They will be better than yours. And, well, maybe France will be able to help you out, but don't count on it. So, if you want to stop something like that, if you want to stop someone from unifying and crushing you later on, an early war where you and your enemies take them apart, your allies, excuse me, is very important. So, I can only go to 25 infamy. And if I want to declare war the moment our truce is over, I can't do that, because I only lose, well, 0.1 during peacetime, 0.03 during war. So if I want to declare war the moment the truce is over, it's about 5 years, I need to keep my infamy relatively low. Otherwise I'm just going to get bum rushed by the rest of the world for being over 25. So if I take Silesia here, and France takes the Rhineland, and let's see, maybe someone else wants something from them too. Yes, Sweden wants that Danzig becomes independent. This will be here. There. No? Where's? There. Danzig. Danzig will become independent. And they want Mecklenburg. They want to annex something. They want to cut someone down. But the more war goals your allies put in, the more damage you can do without eating infamy for it. Because when I started playing, I often got annoyed by my allies putting in war goals, and like I could never possibly reach all of this. Like, look at this. If you want to propose peace, 269. They will never accept this, ever. They will accept 100, nothing more, and you need to have taken everything at that point. Thankfully, we don't need to ask Prussia for all of that. Like, look at this. Modena wants to cut Anhalt down, so you just can go, Anhalt, you get cut down. They want to annex Frankfurt. Frankfurt, get annexed. Mecklenburg, where are you? Yeah. They would not accept, they're not conquered yet. But you can see, you can ask for war goals from the actual target, not just from the war leader. And now we are at 134. Once we get Mecklenburg, we are below 100, and we can ask for all of that. Which means we cut a nice swathe into Prussia here and here. Now I would prefer if we could cut them down, but that's a lot of war score. So if we do that, we are going to miss out on some other war goals. But occupying them, as you can see the occupation goes, is also good, Because if you occupy a province, all of a state, they will not get those factories. And they will not get the production, they will not get the industry score. If we occupy most of Prussia and hold them at that level for like a year, they will drop out of great power status. We could puppet them at that point, if the war drags on so long. But that's gaming the system a bit. But you could also use this for anything else. If you can get them below rank 8, and you keep the war running for a year, they will drop down, and then you can add war goals that you couldn't add against the great power. And I think that's basically it. Let's go over the basics of combat again, just so we have it covered. There's a dice roll by your general and by the enemy general. You add your attack or your defense, depending if you're attacking or defending. Damage is done against both your strength and your organization. If your strength is gone, the unit is dead. If your organization is gone, they will run away. If you are blocking every province they could go to after they're defeated, they will die. The whole unit will die. They will just disappear. If you don't, they will run away and regroup. Damage is reduced by your tactics. The damage to your strength or to your soldiers themselves is reduced by tactics, and to your organization it's reduced by organization. And it's always reduced by experience for both. Forts give you more tactics. A dig-in bonus influences the roll, just like attack or defense general. Terrain does the same. I just said that. And that's basically it. Yes. Keep in mind, support units go into back. Don't let them go to the front. You saw what happened. They got slaughtered. Doesn't matter that we had nearly the same numbers. We lost hard. And well, I think that's pretty much it for combat and war. Well, no, another thing we could say, if we wanted to add a war goal, you can see it's grayed out because we need support for jingoism in our country. This will rise the more you conquer and the more you win. If you stop occupying provinces, if the battle grinds to a halt, this will not rise, it may even go down. And as far as I know, this is easier if you have jingoism or a warlike policy. With pacifism and anti-war, is it called anti-war? Not quite sure. Anti-military, pro-military, anti-military. It will also go up slower. So I think now we have it. Yeah, pretty much. So keep your armies sized to the supply you have for them. Well, no, something else we could say, I guess. You will always take attrition if you are occupying something. But during an occupation, the supply limit is increased. If you can see, is besieging times 2. That means if this was a province that would normally not allow such an army to move through, like it was. In this case it would be something relatively small, 16 or something. But thanks to us increasing it, we would take a lot of attrition just moving through it. But if we besiege it, we don't only take the besieging attrition, because besieging a province means the supply is increased by 2, also times 2. This is relatively important if you, for example, fight in the desert. Okay, supply limit is 7.5. I told you should not move through the desert. I meant that. You can watch your army melt away if you do that. Mountains too aren't the most hospitable of places, but in your own mountains, it's okay, I guess. Like, it will go up the more you research in that direction. Yes, another thing, you can barricade someone from sea. This will give you war score, and it will slowly increase the cost of importing goods for the barricaded nation. This is not as strong as it sounds. It happens, it's a fact, it's useful, but it's not that much of an increase. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but last time I heard it I wasn't terribly impressed by it. Still, it's useful and you want to tear them down somehow. So that's pretty much it for combat. I hope that helped anyone who is new to Victoria or new to Products games in general. Keep the dice roll in mind. Get a general with the right attack or defense. And if you can, let the enemy come to you. I didn't show that very nicely. I could have waited and let them attack into me, but I wanted to show you how this works, and I lost pretty hard for that. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Again, if you have any questions, if there was something in combat you would like to hear more about, if there's something else you would like to hear more about, please let me know. I will try to cover everything you need to know. And thanks again for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time.